Russian President Vladimir Putin, who formalized his fifth term in power, called for a stronger Russia. According to reports from foreign media such as TASS and BBC on the 18th, local time, President Putin visited his campaign headquarters after the election ended and emphasized, "With this election victory, Russia will be able to become a stronger and more efficient country." "Amid all the voices, we are building the common will of the Russian people," he said, mentioning strengthening Russia's defense capabilities as a task for his new term.
At the same time, regarding the situation in which he is likely to be elected with the highest vote rate in history, he said, "There are many specific and important tasks remaining in the future. The results of this election give meaning to the people's trust and hope that we will do everything as planned," he said. President Putin said that voters came to the polls to create conditions for the development of their country, and said, "I would like to express my gratitude to all the people for their support and trust." In addition, the source of state power is the Russian people. The voices of all Russian citizens form the united will of the Russian people.
Putin said this is the most important pillar of the country's existence. Also, he said, "I am grateful to the Russian people who came to vote." He said, "We are all one team." I would like to express my special gratitude to our warriors on the front lines, he said. He also said, "No matter how much they try to scare us and suppress our will and conscience, no one in history has succeeded. They have failed now and will continue to fail," he criticized. President Putin, who has been in power since 1999, is highly likely to continue his fifth term. If he officially wins this presidential election, he is expected to remain president until 2030. Based on the vote counting rate of 60.01%, Putin's vote rate was 87.26%, a record high. The international community, led by the West, criticized this election as neither free nor fair.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky criticized the Russian presidential election, in which Russian President Vladimir Putin was confirmed to be elected to a fifth term, saying it was just a sham of an election and had no legitimacy. Major Western countries also pointed out that this presidential election, in which President Putin returned to power, was not fair. President Zelensky said in a video message on the night of the 17th, local time, "The Russian dictator is imitating another election," and added, "The whole world knows that this man is sick with power and will not stop trying to stay in power for life."
"Everything Russia has done in occupied Ukraine is a crime," he said. "There must be a proper response to everything that Russian killers have done in this war to ensure Putin's eternal rule." President Zelensky said, "There is no justification for imitating an election," and emphasized, "This person will ultimately have to sit on the defendant's bench at The Hague, International Criminal Court." Major Western countries also dismissed the Russian presidential election as meaningless, as it is certain that President Putin will return to power. In addition, Russia was strongly criticized for conducting the presidential election in occupied Ukraine.
given the way President Putin has imprisoned his political opponents and prevented others from running against him. This election is clearly neither free nor fair, said John Kirby, National Security Communications Advisor to the White House's National Security Council. British Foreign Secretary David Cameron commented on social media X, formerly Twitter. Elections were held illegally on Ukrainian territory, and voters' right to choose was not guaranteed. And there was no monitoring by the Independent Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE. In the midst of this, voting has closed in Russia, he said. This is not an example of a free and fair election. And Russia has shown that it is not interested in finding a path to peace, he said. The UK will continue to provide humanitarian, economic, and military assistance to Ukraine to protect its democracy, he said. The German Foreign Ministry also said on X, Russia's fake elections are neither free nor fair. The results will not surprise anyone, he said, pointed out that Putin's rule is dictatorial and he relies on censorship, repression, and violence. He then emphasized the election in the occupied territory of Ukraine is invalid and is another violation of international law. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Poland, a frontline country against Russia bordering Ukraine and Belarus, and in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, said in a statement, a so-called presidential election was held in Russia on March 15 to 17, 2024. Voting was conducted in an environment of extreme social oppression, making it impossible to make free and democratic choices. On the other hand, among pro-Russian countries, Venezuela welcomed President Putin's re-election.
President Nicolas Maduro, on behalf of the Venezuelan people, congratulated President Vladimir Putin and his political movement on their landslide election victory, Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Gil said on social media X. And he said, he expressed his position that the glorious Russian people showed their dedication to democracy through their high election participation rate.
President Maduro will run for a third term in the upcoming presidential election in July. When he was re-elected in 2018, controversy arose over illegal election fraud, and the Maduro authorities disqualified the opposition presidential candidate, Vente Venezuela, VV policy advisor Maria Corina Machado, who was a strong opponent. Thank you for watching. This is Gina, and I worked alongside Leah and Tony.